Hi Scorpio, thank you for joining me. I'm going to do a little bit of a tarot and oracle reading together. If you're new, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share some sacred space together. And if you're returning, welcome back. I deeply appreciate you being here. All right, I do feel called to actually roll with all three cards that came out for you. And it's kind of funny because I was almost feeling like I wanted to go deep, which you're Scorpio. I don't think you will mind. So we have the jaguar, the drum, and the sun. And I love that out of a deck that is quite shamanic, we do have some much more shamanic cards as well that came out. And then there's this lightning that's coming. So if you've been very much in the shadow elements right now, it feels like you're about to come out, come to the light, and the jaguar energy, like that's going to be seen. With the drum, I was also really, I think it's making me think of the fact that the drum is thought of as like it connects with the heartbeat and very much has a deep connection to the earth with that type of rhythm. This does kind of have that feeling like someone is gearing up to where they will be, like you're preparing yourself to be out in the limelight and be seen. So let's look at why the jaguar energy is here to support you right now. That was quick. The Five of Cups. This feels like you've spent a lot of time sort of in this, I'm going to use the word weeping and very sorrowful energy over some loss, and you're seeing now that that's not helping you protect some loved ones. So this could be a child, this could be a partner. There's something about there's someone you now feel like you need to be able to more protect, like that energy of you're going to make sure no other hurt comes this way. I need a card on who that is. Okay, interesting. Eight of Swords came out, and it came out in the reverse. So you went ahead and really, this actually was related to yourself, and it's a very complex thing where you were worried about others, but the truth is this was somewhat of a self-induced time to sit in that energy. Really, I think you took it on a little bit more than you perhaps had to. Ooh, Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, there's this family connection thing that's coming in. So maybe there's also a heritage thing going back, because there's something about that beating rhythm that it's very powerful, especially if you're more of the feminine energy. When you really go back and look at different cultures, you know, women were there and were drumming at very key points, like at a birth or a death, and these very powerful moments that connect us with sort of like the scope of how long we're here on this planet, as well as our lineage and our loved ones as we go through the different eras of time. You know, and just the fact that in this deck, she's got her child there. There's definitely this family lineage connection here. So let's get a clarifier on this drum card with the heartbeat. Okay, so the Six of Swords and the Seven of Cups. So the Six of Swords is definitely speaking to this going on a journey, and we're still in the middle of it. We're not at our destination yet. So with, again, that drumming, because we're sort of preparing ourselves to be in the limelight. And what's actually standing out to me is in this deck, on the World card, the last one in the Major Arcana, she's flying a bird going the other direction, going forward. Here, she's facing to the left, the same direction as on this Oracle card. So this feels very much attached to preparing yourself for something related to your ancestors as well. So this could be, this protectiveness might have to do with a family lineage of behavior that's been allowed to go through, and then you're looking back to say no more, and it's almost like looking back to get support and encouragement and that jaguar energy in preparation for then being able to turn around and go implement this in protection of the next generation. that's clearly just, there's overwhelm, but I want to know specifically what we can do about that. Queen of Swords. And she fell out so gently too, like with this grace that I love, which is a call to, you have that grace. It's a little bit of a reminder. And look, we have another bird, like an eagle, hawk, that kind of energy here. So perhaps spirit guides are really important to you right now, and whether that's showing up through animal symbolism, whether it's a self-assigned symbol you with guides, or one that directly, like a bigger, well-known one. So you've got a lot of support with you right now. And they want you to know that you have the clarity of mind to now turn forward, turn the other way. It's sort of like you're starting to leave, you're right in the middle of the transition of looking back and preparing and turning around to go forward. So if you've been feeling a little stagnant, that's part of it, is you still haven't literally done the U-turn. That's going to be required, that's going to happen for you moving forward. And it's interesting with the U-turn, because sometimes it's like the U-turn we think of as going back. In this instance, the U-turn is going to be you actually then going forward. So it's a good reminder too that sometimes our paths, when we think we're off, we might not be off. It's a little bit of course correction. Or not even course correction, it's a little bit of weaving to then come back, or to then really go the route we were supposed to. You know, there's multiple ways to get somewhere, the direct one and the scenic, and the scenic one probably has some more things to be learned, more experiences. In a way, there's more value. We are so used to operating in a world that's based off efficiency for our success, or how we measure something with its worth, and that's not always the case. And here we're looking at a situation where there's more to be gained, so to speak, by taking that scenic route, by having the opportunity for more experiences to come into play. So I wanted one more advice card, and we've got healing energy. So this is telling me grounding. Really make sure you're grounding. And I love, because this card, you're seeing how much expansion is up here in the canopies, and that's coming out, but there's going to be roots to match that. So it's really remembering to be grounded, because those are your roots, that it's like they are just there. You don't have to be focusing and working on them. They are just there as long as you connect, because that's what's going to help, because this is a lot of expansion. So let's look at the sun. Before we look at the sun, I actually want to look at what we're starting to make different. The Seven of Pentacles, diligently at work. The Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, and awakening. So yeah, again, really diligently at work. You know, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight in the deck out of all the court cards. So this is, we're not quite at the mastery phase yet here. We're still in this learning and putting things into practice. So you're going to be really, with all these pentacles, you're very much in your 3D world now for this transition. That's what's bringing the abundance. So we've gone from this sort of painful, emotional world to really being, and I guess grounded too. It's almost like there's this message of, you're here, make sure you're not trying to detach too much from this world, even with spiritual work. Like, we haven't gotten any cards from the wands yet. And I don't look at this negative. It's that there's an ask to be paying attention to your physical world right now. And with awakening, I really love the interpretation in this deck, because this is their reinterpretation of the Judgment card. But what it is, she has grown and is now coming out of the old skin, like a metamorphosis. And she's still not quite fully gone, like she hasn't turned away, but it's this moment of sitting with it, and it's a reminder to not so much be critical of yourself, but acknowledge the growth you've done and that you are not the same person you were. Sometimes there's judgments that come into play there, or we'll start to want to do that, as opposed to, again, we were talking before about the learning that you've done with this more robust path. That's how it feels, not derailed. It feels robust. Yep, self-care. A reminder to take care of yourself because this is still a sensitive time as you are doing all this. Part of being the Jaguar, besides protecting someone you love, we were kind of getting at this before too. It's like this, I think there's a little bit of a perceived view to look at right now of how much of this needs to be done even for others versus for yourself. Because by doing it for yourself, you're going to do it for your loved ones. It's going to have an effect for them anyway. But the first step now is how to be a little more protective of yourself. And sometimes that protection just means doing the things we really need to be doing. All right, so now let's dig into the Sun. Queen of Pentacles, the Fool, and the Seven of Wands. Interesting energy. So the Queen of Pentacles, you've got two queens now. So this is going to be you living unapologetically and comfortably and doing the things you want. Like I love now the pentacles here that she was crafting and honing. These are the things that are letting her sustain her life. And I love because, especially with the traditional imagery from the Rider-Waite-Smith decks, like there really is so much more symbolism speaking to not living just living as she wants to. And it's not overly self-righteous. It's not knocking how someone else does. It's just she's in her space, living the way she chooses to, and I love that this card really has the enjoyment with the fact that she's still focused on the pentacle. She's still gardening there. And then we have the Fool and the Seven of Wands. So you're definitely going to be starting a new journey, and that's going to be part of what's feeling so invigorating for you. There is going to be a little bit of, so it's interesting now we do have the Wands coming out, but it's in a card that's about defensiveness, really sort of protecting your boundaries. And it's drawing me back to the self-care and the healing energy. So this card is also letting you know, like there's going to be a new cycle of still implementing this advice to like sustain this Queen of Pentacles and this Sun energy. And for some reason, I've got the phrase "nothing new under the sun" coming to me. Like, in a way, we're going to kind of there's shared elements that are going to keep happening through our life. But the difference is this is a new cycle of it where it doesn't feel like it's got all this emotional pain, really, as opposed to now it's more of this diligent work approach. The fact that we've got the Seven of Pentacles and the Knight, there is something that actually, and you've got the 10. So it feels relaxed in a way, like you're hard at work, but relaxed about it. Now, let me get a clarifier and some last advice over here for the Seven of Wands. Okay, I don't know how much more balance you can get for your advice. So Two of Pentacles. And yeah, we're running out of space, so we're just going to go over everything. And then the Page of Cups. So this is really beautiful because the Two of Pentacles is talking about the work-play balance. So that's going to get some shifting in the coming time. And the Page of Cups is asking you to be lighthearted about that shift. Be willing to flow with it because that balance might not even look the same every day. Day to day, you could see the opportunity to tweak and adjust. And whether that's because the long term needs to be different or if that's accommodating for your body, for other circumstances happening right now, there's just the ask to keep looking at what balance means right now. I feel like that's a really great place to leave it. It feels hopeful. It feels actionable too, which I really love for you because the intention with this reading is to help bring up some more insights so that you have the opportunity to work with the energy now and go make this happen. Because it's a big thing too. We had a lot of cards about work, and so to get to the Sun, there is now still some work that's coming to happen for you. But the energy's there to support you to go do that. I'll see you next time, Scorpio. Thank you.